you have a conductor, the only way for it to work if it is insulated by air, which is the transmission lines, they are insulated by
Right.
air, but you need a lot of space and all of that. So you put insulation on the equipment,
Right.
and that insulation, you can use the analogy of a water pipe, and it's going to have probably some leaks,
Yes.
but it's not going to be something that it's going to be damaging
Right.
other things.
Welcome back to the Media Zone live at NABCEP 2024. I'm your host, Nico Johnson. The Media Zone is presented by LG Electronics Energy Storage Systems. Today, I want to introduce you to a new friend of mine, Volney Naranjo, the Business Development Manager for Renewables at Megger. And there are likely many of you who are familiar with a term, Megger, but not the company that the term is named after. And in many ways, I have learned this week at NABCEP that it is akin to Google in that it has become a verb in the industry, certainly for those who do electrical testing. How is the term Megger used or not used internally in the company?
Okay, well, we manufacture more than 500 products, and we cover every equipment in the electrical system. So calling a Megger test or an insulation resistance test a Megger is not the best way to go, and it goes against the
Yep.
other products. So
Yep.
we call it insulation resistance test.
Got it. So insulation resistance test is the formal technical test where a Megger device is used to test the insulation resistance. However, most people in the field simply say, I Meggered it.
I Megger it, yes, exactly.
It's like Googling something.
Which is a word.
Yeah, or
what you get-
Xeroxing.
yeah, what you get when you do an insulation resistance test, it's in a unit that it's called mega ohms.
Mega
So-
ohms,
So
yeah.
the word Megger comes from mega ohms, like a mega ohm meter.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of the reason for the word as well.
I see. Okay. And is the name Megger derived from mega ohm or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes from there, from the mega ohm meter. So Megger.
So is that the first product that Megger came to market with?
It's a product that was developed back in the late 1800s.
Oh, wow.
And Megger has grown organically, but also from buying other companies.
Yeah.
So right now we are a collection of more than 10 companies that Megger has acquired.
Wow.
We are also known for the AVO Training Institute. There used to be another brand called AVO.
Yeah.
Amps, volts, and ohms. That's another company that we bought. So and we keep the name for the training institute, and we keep the name for our all diagnostics. So we have AVO Diagnostic Services.
Okay, fantastic. How old is the company, Megger?
It's more than 100 years,
Wow.
110, 115 years, more or less.
Amazing. Could you just give me a sense of the breadth of services that a company like Megger over 100 years is now offering, and like where is Megger located? Is it a U.S. company? I know very little about the company. I
Sure.
suspect those who are Meggering things are probably know very little about the company as well.
So the Megger per se started in UK.
Okay.
So in the company, our main office is in UK. We have a factory there in a city called Dover. But then we have a factory in Pennsylvania. There used to be the factory for Beetle Products, another good name, and
Yep.
they are the ones with the Doctor test, which is another trade.
Doctor test.
Doctor, D-U-C-T.
Ductor, okay.
Ductor.
That's for HVAC.
Yes.
Okay.
And that is for low resistance measurement.
Okay, so do people ductor things?
Yeah, ductor
like the
dish.
way Megger?
Yeah,
My
exactly.
goodness, I
So
need.
Megger is for the high
I
resistance.
feel like Megger has tapped into something that most companies in the industry would want, which is instant brand recognition. But the
Yeah.
problem is it's not brand recognition so much as the ubiquity of the term itself, right?
Exactly.
Do you find as the head of business development that ubiquity of the name Megger actually does bring you business, or do people have confusion about that?
And it's a mix of things. Some people will know the term and they would not know the company. Other people will know the company, but they will think that it is only this specific product.
Right.
And when they see the breadth of products we have, they get surprised. And some other people, well, they will know everything.
Yeah.
So it's a mix.
Do you know more or less the history of when people started using the terminology as a verb? Megger this, Megger that?
Not really, but it comes from. I went to university in the 90s, and I know the term from
Yeah.
that time. So it comes from a long time ago.
Okay.
1950s, 1940s. I don't know.
We mentioned one aspect of testing. Could you give us a sense of what other electrical maintenance testing is required for a solar or wind farm?
In the very basic aspect is the insulation resistance test.
Uh-huh.
And then for the wind industry, one very basic test is the low contact resistance or low resistance measurement.
Okay.
So the blades, they can get struck by a lightning.
Right.
And that lightning needs to be brought to ground.
Yes.
So from the tip of the blade to the hub and down to the base of the tower, there's a ground path that needs to be checked for very low resistance.
Got it.
So there's a testing point at the tip of the blade that goes all the way up to the hub, and you want to measure the resistance there. That's another basic test. We have a very portable instrument.
How do you measure at the tip of the blade?
Somebody has to go there and contact the...
They climb down the blade.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I do not want that job.
Yeah, it's a very high-skilled job. So they go down there, they put one of the leads there, and then the other lead, which is a long lead, of course, is up there, or they bring the long lead down, and then they run the test.
Yeah.
So somebody has to climb down to connect one of the leads.
Oh, my
the
goodness.
other lead goes up there. And then every tower, every solar array has a transformer associated to that.
Yes.
Transformers are critical for the entire function and the operation, and they get degraded because of the characteristics of the power in the system, because they have a lot of harmonics, because there's a lot of load variation.
Right.
Transformers, the industry is seeing that these transformers fail prematurely or infant. They suffer from infant mortality.
Yep.
So it's very important to test transformers, and we have a good breadth of products to test transformers. We do turns ratio, we do winding resistance, we do power factor testing or insulation assessment. We also have oil diagnostics to get the condition of the transformer from the oil characteristics.
Are all transformers oil-based transformers?
No, there are dry type transformers.
Okay.
And dry type transformers, you also do turns ratio, you also do winding resistance, but instead of the power factor test, which is an insulation test, you preferably do insulation resistance test.
Okay.
So
let's go back to this insulation resistance test, aka meggering something.
Yep.
Why would someone need or want to do an insulation resistance test or megger a line? And where is this test done in a typical solar array? Let's take a residential solar array, for example.
Electrical equipment is nothing without the insulation. If you have a conductor, the only way for it to work, if it is insulated by air, which is the transmission lines, they are insulated by air, but you need a lot of space and all of that. So you put insulation on the equipment, and that insulation, you can use the analogy of a water pipe, and it's going to have probably some leaks, but it's not going to be something that it's going to be damaging other things. You don't want that leakage to increase in time. And so you want to keep an eye on that, and you do like periodic maintenance and periodic testing to determine if the insulation is in good condition. And that is the life of an electrical equipment. Doing electrical insulation resistance test is keeping the life of the equipment and guaranteeing that it's going to be in good condition.
And in technical terms, what are you measuring in the insulation resistance? Is that ohms?
Yes, you're measuring a resistance. So Ohm's law, you apply a voltage.
Yes.
You get a leakage current, very low, very, very low. And because the current is on the denominator, then that makes a big number. So you get big, like 1 mega ohm, which means 1 million ohms.
Okay.
So you get very high values from under resistance. And that's the 1 mega ohm is kind of the universal criteria for passing.
Yeah.
So if you're testing an insulation and it goes below 1 mega ohm, take a closer look, because you might have a problem there.
Got it. So you want resistance around 1 mega ohm, and if it goes lower, there's a problem. Is it possible that it goes above 1 mega ohm?
You want it to be above 1 mega ohm, and that's one thing for technicians to look at, the range of the instrument. So it is typical that you would see a result that it says infinite or above 100 giga ohms.
Got it.
It doesn't mean that it's perfect or it's good, but it means that if you don't see the real value, if it's just above the range, and you keep testing and it's above the range, it could be decreasing or degrading, but you're not seeing it.
Ah.
So you want to have an instrument that has a good range, and
Right.
you can see the actual degradation, and you just not capture it when it reaches that point where you have the range of your instrument.
So there are instruments that have limited range.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I would presume that they're instruments that are more cost effective, shall we say, but don't provide the full picture
Perfect. Yeah,
that
exactly.
you need. Okay.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you would want folks to better understand about, apart from using the term insulation resistance test rather than meggering, which I'm sure you appreciate? Is there anything else that you feel like folks routinely sort of educating folks around?
Probably, and going back to the previous question, the importance or why to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, you keep the life of the asset, but also is safety. So if you have something leaking current to ground and it's going through a path that it's not the proper path, when you have current circulating through something, it's going to dissipate heat.
Yes.
So it is a cause of fires.
Okay.
And especially if you're thinking on roof install,
Yeah.
it's
So-
wood all over the place.
So a Megger or an insulation resistance test helps to identify potential fire risk.
Exactly.
Arc fault risk?
Yes.
Okay. Any other potential risks that you might be able to identify?
Deterioration of the panels.
Panels.
Yeah, there was a presentation yesterday where they're showing panels that were arcing or deteriorating at
Sure.
certain connections. So it's important to keep an eye on that.
It's important to keep an eye on it. And now you understand why it is important and the myriad other tests that you should or could be running that are electrical maintenance tests on your array. Volney Naranjo is the head of business development for the Renewables division of Megger here in North America. Volney, thank you for joining us at the Media
Thank
Zone.
you so much. I appreciate the
And
invitation.
thank you for tuning in.